Good morning, Bethel family. I'm Sister Ramona Lewis, the president of Bethel's Doris Reese Health and Wellness Ministry. Today is Red Dress and Go Red Sunday, a time we focus attention on heart health. We want to make sure that we get vital information on what to look for when it comes to heart health and what adjustments we can make sure that we stay healthy. Please grab your family and your friends to watch and share this worship service as we go red and take a stand against heart disease.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Lena Matthews, and I'm a cardiologist at Johns Hopkins. I'm an assistant professor in the School of Medicine, and my practice is in general cardiology, but I have a specific focus on prevention of heart disease. To just start out, heart disease and stroke are really the leading causes of death in the United States. And especially for women, which a lot of women may not know, it's the leading cause of death in women. And this is a scary statistic, but what we know is that among minorities, like African Americans, Hispanics, these risks are even higher compared to other groups. But the good news is that you can improve your chances of preventing and beating these diseases by understanding the risks and taking simple steps to address them. And there are three key things that I wanted to share with you today. The three main risk factors, like what puts you at risk for having cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, and strokes, are high blood pressure, being overweight, and diabetes. And these are very common conditions. And let's start out with high blood pressure. As we get older, and if we put on weight, we are at risk of getting high blood pressure. And high blood pressure puts you at a risk of developing a heart attack and strokes. And it causes permanent damage to the heart. And many times, high blood pressure builds up over many years and causes damage without even us knowing. That's why it's often referred to as the silent killer. We also know that hypertension among minorities develops at younger ages and it's more severe.
When I discovered that I had high blood pressure, I was about 28 years old. I was having constant headaches like every day. And we were dating at the time. And she said, "Let me take your blood pressure." And, the first time she took my blood pressure, she was like, I'm supposed to take you to the emergency room. And I was like, "No, I'm not going to the emergency room. I just got a headache. I didn't really eat anything. Maybe I need to drink some water." You try to play it down. Then eventually, after a few readings of high numbers, like stroke numbers, I think that finally kind of caused some alarm. And, she would just often tell me about, young people that she would see in the hospital that were dealing with some, heart issues.
The main thing is working with your primary care doctor or your healthcare provider to find out if you have high blood pressure, visiting them once a year or even more frequently. And especially during COVID, it's important to make sure that you're seeing your primary care doctor and monitoring your blood pressure. And I encourage you to monitor at home. Buy a blood pressure cuff at CVS, check your blood pressure, and check it at home. And if you notice your blood pressure is high, notifying your doctor. And once you have high blood pressure, you can work with your doctor to choose the right medications to lower your blood pressure. And the blood pressure that we recommend is top number 120 and bottom number 80.
It kind of works you up because you're thinking like, well, why are y'all doing all of this? And, they really, really try to get down to the bottom of it and determine that I had high blood pressure. But even just based off the questions, I understood kind of where it came from. Family history, both my parents they got to take a pill every day, multiple pills for some of my family members. And I just didn't think it would, that would be me. I felt like I ate just like everybody else. I love pizza and French fries, so no big deal. But to know that and I don't mind sharing this, I try to tell everybody, but the the one medication that I do take, I'm on the highest dosage, and I have been. Even when they first started me out, it was on a low, and I came back 3 months later, no change. And they told me, like, you're gonna have to make some changes, but you're basically gonna have to make sure that you take this pill every day. And so that within itself was a shocker to hear, before I was 30, that I was gonna need to take medicine pretty much for the rest of my life unless I did something drastic about it. So.
And so what are the things you can do to lower your blood pressure? Number one is, if you have it, taking your medication every day. There are lifestyle changes that you can make. The first one is your diet. The biggest risk factor for having high blood pressure is foods that have salt. So reducing foods that have salt and processed foods. Number two is losing weight. And number three is doing exercise. If you do all these things, your chances are much higher of reducing high blood pressure.
High blood pressure can even come from stress.
Yeah.
And, a lot of these young kids are under a lot of stress. The stress and the eating and family history, not even realizing that your family members have high blood pressure, and that's also hereditary. So it's just a lot of factors that younger people just don't realize.
And the last big risk factor for many women is diabetes. Diabetes is one of the major risk factors for having a heart attack and stroke. But not only that, it also causes problems with your legs or with the kidneys, and people end up needing dialysis or amputations. But fortunately, there's ways to prevent diabetes or control the diabetes. During this time of COVID, it's been very tough for many people to get access to their doctor. Doctors are really busy, or the hospitals and clinics are full. But I want to urge you that taking steps to monitor your blood pressure, your weight, and your diabetes, even during COVID, and working with your doctor to make sure that all those things are controlled. And what we know is that among minorities, particularly African Americans and Hispanics, they develop high blood pressure and diabetes at much younger ages. And that results in having these cardiovascular disease, such as heart attack and stroke, at a younger age. So starting these steps early in life, in your 20s and 30s, will really prevent you from getting diseases later in life.
Faith without works is dead. God and medicine definitely works hand in hand. As my wife prays over me, I definitely still take that pill every day. It has to happen. I could try to do it on my own, but the 3 or 4 days, if I skip taking a pill, I have a headache, and I put myself at risk. I put my family at risk. So, there are ways, and a doctor did tell me, hey, we can kind of try to wean you off of this, but it's a step of taking that pill every day. And they'll give you guides as to, okay, let's try this, let's try that, whether it be diet, whether it be eliminating stress, exercise, something that has to happen, but you have to follow the directions of the medical professionals, as well as pray, and take the pill.
Take the pill. But as you mentioned, speaking with the health professional, there might be alternate things that you can try.
Sure.
But you have to talk to the health professional
Right.
to figure those things out. And definitely pray.
And take that pill.
We'd like to thank Dr. Lena Matthews for her shares, and also our Minister of Worship and Fine Arts, Brother Albert, and his wife Renisha, for their testimony as well. Help us spread awareness by sharing this service, and post yourself in your Go Red and Red dress wear. Be sure to tag Bethel or use the hashtag Bethel Go Red.